is earlier today.
It's the explanation that many Jamaicans had been waiting for. In an interesting twist, the prosecution accepted Jolyan Silvera's guilty plea to the lesser charge of manslaughter in relation to his wife's death. In a release on Friday,
I woke up this morning, was born out in Kingston and leaving Jamaica abroad, not to England.
Hoy! Yeah. Hoy! Yeah, my people, yo. So I see the news, yeah? And, we have to do what is fair and what is right and point out the fact of how what they call justice system here in Jamaica is actually an injustice system. You listening? Lyrics me fixing. We practice this thing for the siblings living within the system. All Chris him, have a glistening thing, whistling. Listen king for prison visiting for indiscipline. Sicilin, maybe missing for the christening. It's sickening for see what cripple been pissing in. And riveting, maybe blessed for be drizzling. If you're listening when me singing in the beginning. Yeah, it's an injustice system. Cause we're going through the roughest time. We're going through the toughest time. Yes, I'm overeating like a jeep. It's cause we're fed up on the fucking crime. Going through the toughest times. We're going through the roughest times. Yes, I'm overeating like a jeep. It's cause no food can't fucking find. Yeah, man. So we cry, Lord, help. Go through the struggle heavy like barbell. Think a joke. I either rise or fell. But for tell the youth, no listen Vybz Kartel. And we'll show you why. See me? Because Vybz Kartel was accused and was tried many times. You can see them really want to put him away. Unfairly and lawfully. With tampered evidence that should no longer be considered, of any use or purpose credible for a conviction of one's life to be placed in a penitentiary forever, almost it seems, for the rest of their life. However, on the other hand, we have politicians and, the uptown gangs and clan member from the uptown area who are, the ones who people would look towards as role model that would lead society as they're considered as elites with, people who look to uphold the law. These are the people who are committing the most gruesome crime and getting away with it. And, even in the court of their injustice system, there you find favoritism and partiality, all these things. So we have to go get in it, because this devil, folks, this is devil. So we are getting it and showing our clock a strike.
welcome back to Primetime News.
Special welcome to folks on OneSpotMedia.com.
Up first this evening, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has outlined its reasons for accepting a plea to manslaughter in the case of Jolyan Silvera, who was originally charged with murder in the killing of his wife, Melissa Silvera.
The details were outlined in a release.
No. So, you see what I go and do? DPP outlines reason for accepting Jolyan Silvera's guilty plea to manslaughter, because that is a lesser charge than what is actually committed there, right? And I'm sure a lot of y'all already have been following this case from like 2 years ago and see the guilty, signs and all the guiltiness appears in the action of the politician, right? Because a lot of things wasn't done by the regulations and the way how things should regulate, because you're gonna hear about how him tile out the place and change up the place where his wife had been placed, it seems, you know what I mean? So that is why the DPP said them fail to understand how the unaliving had occurred. However, the guy testify and you know, he told them that he did actually committed the crime, right? However, they can't really just believe him. So they have to look into other evidence and areas. However, all the signs and all the things that have been loud here is the fact that this man tried his best to get rid of as much evidence as he could, because he's very evil, obviously. You know, they say that he unalive his wife. He said that he unalive his wife because she had blamed him for the death of their child, right? And that has to be an evil man. And he's talking about he lose control of himself. Don't take these things as just some mere excuses. These are some evil people, evil bastards, evil. And you can see the evil in him. And I don't know why these black women, it's so hurting. It's painstaking to see all these black women losing their life to these outsiders. You know, I don't care if they're considered as Jamaicans. When you look at them, they're not the Jamaicans that we grew up with and all these things. Yo, I don't know about you, but these are some evil people, some reptilian type of cold-blooded reptile creature. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, man, are some evil people. I hope the prisoner them finish off the job still, because them want to give him a light sentence. And him deserve life. You see me? And a lot of people me hear talk say, yo, certain crime deserve hanging, and them for bringing hanging at the middle of a tree. This is one way would deserve that fairly. You see me? Especially the man them where unalive them woman where them. Oh, is a lady that is not even one of them butch they have with big and thick and can go on like man. Is a lady like female him unalive. That for be like some crazy punishment him forget for that. Oh my God, when I see the picture, I can't stand them news, And you look how them treat the matter and say them a justice system, a injustice system this.
Is earlier today.
It's the explanation that many Jamaicans had been waiting for. In an interesting twist, the prosecution accepted Jolyan Silvera's guilty plea to the lesser charge of manslaughter in relation to his wife's death. In a release on Friday,
Look at him, smiling with that big face. These guys are monsters, people. Try to study them and don't take them lightly. Zin? And don't take them lightly. Because them love for marry the black woman them and take the black woman them. And then it's like, to me, I see these black women as slave in the relationship. Because remember, when a black woman on a need for open up on her eyes and notice these things. Not because a man have money or power, you run go there with him and try secure his wealth for your sake and future generation. No. You first of all you have to remember that when you go outside of your ethnic group or race, if you want to, for better terms for some of your people, right? To go outside of your race, right? I'm not saying we can't go outside of our race, but in a marriage, you know what I mean? You have to consider the fact that you are around a lot of strangers. You know what I mean? Because you're going to meet his mother, his large family, right? And you're of a lesser wealth and power. So obviously, it's like a shark out of water, basically, when you're around them. And most women won't really involve their families, to interact much with their, here in Jamaica, I'm sure, like, it's not like in America or a lot of foreign countries where all the family make sure meet all the family. Like here in Jamaica, they don't really want to meet your family. It's just our family meeting you. That is how it goes because you're of lesser financial power and strength. So, I can't say how it was for Jocelyn Silvera, who had, died. The plea to man. It's crazy, you know what I mean? It's just sad. But I hope you understand what I'm saying.
DPP said the decision was taken following careful assessment of the evidence and the account provided by the accused.
That's BS. That's BS. 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 I mean, like when I say BS, I mean for them to come to such a low level of charge. You know what I mean? For such a heinous act, that's just BS.
February 2, 2026, the defense submitted a signed statement from Silvera admitting that during an argument with his wife Melissa on the night of November 10, 2023, he lost control and discharged his licensed firearm in her direction.
Yeah, even that part, I lost control and, fired shot in her direction. Those are the tricky way of terms in it, because when people hear those words, it paints an image. It paints this picture like as if like I never aimed it at her, but in her direction. You know what I mean? I never shot her, or I never meant to shot her. I just shot in her direction. It's like I just want to scare her, type of thing. So this type of terminology and way of wording their sentences could help get lighter sentencing. You know what I mean? So this is probably from this is from the accused statement. I think they're bringing out exactly the same when they say that he had fired shot in her direction. Yeah, I think they brought this across from his defense statement over exactly into the media.
Silvera claimed the argument escalated after his wife blamed him for the death of their young son and made statements he described as provocative. He told prosecutors,
that is no excuse for you to unalive your wife and get so angered to commit such a crime. This is a monstrous person. You get what I'm saying? You don't play with these type of people and you can see the sign in them, people will lose them temper, especially the ones them who you're involved with. Even your friends or people, it can be anyone you're close to. You know what I mean? Even a family member. Once you see them start react certain way, it's a big sign of danger. And I tell her, I believe she was stressing in that relationship because things don't just all of a sudden, just come to such a sudden end. I think she was in a stressful relationship all along, This big guy's head is big, and she's like, it's like the Beauty and the Beast, you know what I mean? But this is like the real version of the Beauty and the Beast. It's crazy.
He did not intend to kill her. He said he panicked and left the apartment. Prior to Silvera's guilty manslaughter plea, the prosecution said its case was largely circumstantial and supported by ballistic evidence, but it did not have direct evidence of what occurred at the exact moments Mrs. Silvera was shot. In the statement from the Office of the Prosecution, it pointed to the following facts. Sometime after 10:30 on November 10, 2023, Mr. Silvera told his wife and the children he was leaving to attend a meeting and that he would return the following day. Mrs. Silvera told him he could not leave, and then an argument ensued. The Office of the DPP release says this was extracted from a statement from the two children. It further noted that sometime before 6 a.m. on November 11, 2023, one of the children, who was 10 years old at the time, went into...
Yeah, even that part is sad. For no say, The child, him left the child for go stumble upon his own mother. You know what I mean? 10-year-old. 10-year-old. That traumatizing for life. You know, this a man you not really care. You just want to know say because you see, yo, them so ignorant. Oh, if you have a man like that as a politician, there have must been clear sign of his behavior. Cause people like this, them operate one way, brother, thinking that they, yo, judge and know. They make sure you even put out things say reporters enough to talk on it one at a time, you know. That means say what kind of system this and what kind of situation for them to put out about people, you know? Crazy. Like there's a war going on with vloggers against the system and people who are outspoken, people who are sharing information. There's a big VS between all the BS.
His parents' bedroom and discovered his mother's lifeless body on the floor next to their bed. The child noticed there was blood coming from her orifices and her dress was covered with blood. He alerted his brother, who accompanied him back to his parents' bedroom, where they both...
I think this is what he's reading out. Sometime after 10:30, yeah, it's it. Noticed that bedroom and alerted his brother. Oh my God, more than one child was there. Then this woman is like a guinea pig to this man who accompanied him back to his parents with their father using the messenger kid application on their digital app, whatever.
checked for signs of life from her body. They then contacted their father. It says Mr. Silvera indicated in a witness statement that he called the Stony Hill police station while on his way home. Mr. Silvera went into his bedroom and saw his wife in a sitting position with her head leaning forward.
So you mean for tell me, sir, when him the man left the scene of the crime, go about him business up and down wherever I'm there, and when him ready for return to him house, him same call Stony Hill. Him go we know say him call lawyers and him call a bag of other politician and him get a lot of assistance, information for assist him by a lot of his close friends them in the same politics.
Policeman who arrived at the scene went into the bedroom, took a photograph of the body, and Mr. Silvera cried out. He did not further examine the body because Mr. Silvera was still crying. After learning that Mr. Silvera did not have any known medical condition, the police indicated that a post-mortem would be conducted to determine the cause of death. He then contacted the House of Tranquility Funeral Home for the removal of the body, and then the policeman left. The post-mortem was held on December 15, 2023. The pathologist discovered that Melissa Silvera sustained 3 gunshot wounds, one to the right thigh, one to the lower abdomen, and a superficial wound to the right side of the abdomen. 2 projectiles were removed from her body, and the pathologist ruled that she died from multiple gunshot wounds.
That's serious still, you know, but you know, glad for no say she not get no head thing there. But yo, him know where him do. Him goodly know where him do still, you know what I mean? Like, cause what me I look pan and I talk about right now is them say she get 1 shot in her thigh in on the one side of her abdomen. I think them say, but I never remember if right or left. I could play that back.
One to the right thigh, one to the lower abdomen, and a superficial wound to the right side of the abdomen.
Okay, so the right side of the abdomen and the lower abdomen. So, but what kind of weapon too? Because you have some serious weapon and that a close range, by close range, that a bore out and a shrivel out everything. You see me? That's so it yo, I don't even know. I don't even know. The fact that him claim to say him get angry and commit such a act because she brought up the fact that it's his fault while one of their child had lost their life. It's just crazy, you know what I mean? That is no reason. That is no reason. And you have to know, say, people have to start put them mind, especially when with the one them where you're around. You have to expect the unexpected. You get me? As much as you love this person or care about or have to deal with, when it comes to certain things, you have to just know, say, yo, sticks and stone break bone and words would never hurt me. You know what I mean? I just say I have to kind of look on it. One thing with me is still, you see? Well, I forgot to make a video for that.
2 projectiles were removed from her body, and the pathologist ruled that she died from multiple gunshot wounds.
Now, when detectives returned to this property just behind me on December 16, 2023, upon entering Mr. Silvera's bedroom, they noticed that the floors had been tiled, furniture had been sprayed over, the mattress was replaced with a new one, and the walls were also repainted. When questioned, Mr. Silvera told them that no one told him that he could not make changes to the bedroom. His phone and firearms were then later seized.
Ballistics testing confirmed the bullets recovered from Mrs. Silvera's body were fired from Mr. Silvera's licensed Glock pistol. Despite the ballistic findings, the DPP says the prosecution could not disprove Silvera's account of provocation. As a result, prosecutors determined they would be unable to evidentially negate the partial defense of provocation. The DPP says in the interest of justice and transparency, and subject to the court's approval, the prosecution accepted the plea to manslaughter.
Enough, folks. It's like right now, me tell you, say, yo, my mind not to pay for a pray. This evil news, yeah, it just, we leaders and the injustice system. Sad. Them said the ODPP, Office of Director of Public Prosecution, right? Yeah. Says it made the decision. And say Claudette Thompson, them say the second woman to ever hold a position, isn't? So the Office of Director of Public Prosecution says it made the decision to accept Jolyan Silvera's plea of manslaughter for the death of his wife, based on the partial defense of provocation, because it would have been challenged in proving a murder had been committed. They must say it hard for proof. It been challenging to prove that a murder had been committed. In a statement released to the media on Friday, the ODPP, right now them for just call themselves ODPM, Office of Preparedness Management, ODPEM. Yeah, the same ODPEM, Preparedness Management, Emergency Management, yeah. Office of Disaster Preparedness, Emergency Management, right? Yeah, ODPEM. So let me get that right. Right now, the ODPP, which is the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, them right now for call themselves ODPEM, ODPEM, the Office of Disaster Preparedness, Emergency Management, right? So that them for call themselves. So I could continue this thing, So the prosecution confirmed that on Monday, right before Chief Justice Brian Sykes, a former member of Parliament, pleaded not guilty to murder and not guilty to using a firearm to commit a felony. Murder. The prosecution said upon hearing the plea entered by Mr. Silvera, it indicated to the God court that the defense would have to prove the basis on which it was asking the prosecution to accept a plea to the lesser offense of manslaughter, as it did not arise on the prosecution case. You understand? So I be a little slide them and make the thing them slide, because it's evident that this man here committed a serious murder. You see, a Ja Rule said that? Yeah, murder inc. Right? It says on Monday night, the defense provided a statement to the prosecution, authored and signed by the accused, right? That are the same Mr. Silvera, crack brother. In court on Tuesday, Mr. Silvera pleaded guilty to manslaughter and guilty to using a firearm to commit a felony. Manslaughter. The contents of his statement were outlined by the defense, right? The court heard that on the night of November 10, 2023, the former MP and his wife had an argument which got physical. Mr. Silvera indicated that during the argument, she blamed him, as she always did. What kind of thing that? It's what she always did for the death of their young son, right? So if, I mean, like, Jaja, this, yo, I'm not like them statement here, you know, about the woman, you know. You see? Because he have no excuse, no valid reason to do such a thing. No matter where him have to come say. Him for just ready for do the time. From you do the crime, just go do the time. See? Alright, so he went on to state that during the argument she hurled several expletives at him and made derogatory statements. Sila. Jaja. Them just blame the woman, like, you know, victim blaming about his sister and mother, which he found to be provocative. Then that me I tell you no earlier. See it, I never even knew this. That mother and sister was involved. You know what I mean? Because the lady, the wife was complaining, you know, about her husband, who is Mr. Silvera, his mother and sister, like, you know, that is what I was talking about earlier. When you black females enter a relationship with rich, powerful outsiders, even if they're politician on the insider here on our local soil, you know what I mean? Don't be quick to go all in. And they're evil. Remember, the more wealthier a man is the more evil it can equate to most of the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to know the history of the person. You don't just allow people to treat you nice couple time and say, okay, everything seems nice. No, it's not fine. It's not. They want to get you right where they want you, on their soil, in their property, in their house, away from your help and your loved ones. And that's the danger. You're trapped. You're amongst their family. You know what I mean? So, according to Mr. Silvera's statement, as the argument continued, she made a comment about their children, which he found to be the final straw. And at that point, he lost control and discharged his weapon in her direction. That's his statement, you know what I mean? He stated that it was not his intention to hurt. That's a lie, because even if you never meant to hit her with those shots, you're already hurting her by letting off shots inside the house. You know what I mean? That is hurt. She's scared. When someone's scared, that is hurt. That is hurt. You know, your heart, you can go in a shock, can get heart attack. So these people are dunce. You know, these are the people they should try, like how they try to sink Vybz Kartel, instead of trying to sink Vybz Kartel, who never deserved it. You know what I mean? These are the people you go hard to sink, because you don't want these people to ever claim leadership position again. You know what I mean? Because once bitten, twice shy, and it normally happens more than once. So, in response, the prosecution said it made submission on whether it was proper in law to accept the pleas entered by Mr. Silvera. It noted in the media release that the prosecution case was based on circumstantial evidence and ballistic findings. It was also pointed out that the prosecution had evidence of what occurred before Mrs. Silvera was murdered. what occurred after she was murdered and the subsequent events. However, the prosecution said it did not have evidence of what happened at the time Mrs. Silvera was unalive. Additionally, the prosecution said, having heard Mr. Silvera's account, it would not have been able to disprove the partial defense of provocation raised by him. It also noted that the court would have had a duty to direct the jury on the defense of provocation and the effect it would have on the court of murder, that is, to reduce it to manslaughter. The prosecution is represented in the matter by Assistant Directors of Public Prosecution, Dwayne Green and Deborah Bryan. Mr. Silvera is to be sentenced on March the 6th. So everybody await for March the 6th. That how everybody await on, because they want to see how many years they're planning on giving this guy. Now, I think them not give him no more than 15 years, you know. You know what I mean? Them goodly. What I see them doing. 'Cause I remember, you know, the universe show me everything, reveal everything, you know, right? What they're doing, I think they're probably looking at 10 years, right? But they'll say 15. They'll say 15, but they actually want to give him a 10-year for him not to do the full 10. So they're going to pull a tricky one on this. You know what I mean? Because they want to give him less than 10, but they don't want the uproar from the people. So they're going to pull an Epstein, because they're saying that evidence is now showing that Epstein is alive, you know, and they had claimed that he had died, you know what I mean, in prison, which is possibly a lie, because a lot of things have been coming out that seems evidential, you know what I mean? Evidently, you know, it could be evidently that he is alive. Yeah, that is the Epstein files, you know, big rich guy there in Los Angeles of the Epstein Island, you know, and they have all the celebrities there. They try to throw Trump name in it, but you know, I don't see it going anywhere. So me have to go bring some foreign news to you know, same way, because I find out say me have fans from Canada. Big up yourself, my fans them are Canada. You get me? I not see nobody else shout out say, yo, Ray. You see me? But I know say some Jamaicans in the thing, cause the Jamaicans them comment to. And them not have to tell me which part them they are, where them from, cause we know the comment them, you see me? So yeah, we are warrior, you know, we not stay silent, we have to share our thoughts and our support and these kind of things, you know, make the people them aware of them surrounding and them circle, the type of people them have around a hurdle. You see me? The color purple. No, true. No magnet time for you, too. I'm out.